In the harsh world of fame, even the strongest minds can break. Join us as we explore the lives of 10 talented artists whom this should never have happened to, but under the relentless spotlight of fame, went literally insane, causing their demise. Juice. You are heralded. In December 1998, a boy by the name of Jarrad Anthony Higgins was born, but he would later become known to many as Juice WRLD. This young man, who later became an American rapper, singer, and songwriter, had a powerful voice that made waves in the music industry. In 2018, he made a powerful impact on the music charts with his unforgettable single Lucid Dreams, a track filled with raw emotion that resonated deeply with listeners. His truthful lyrics explored themes of darkness and pain that struck a chord with many people going through similar struggles. However, beyond the fame and the infectious tunes, there was a difficult young man dealing with struggles much deeper than anyone realized. Juice WRLD's sudden ascent to fame may have seemed like a meteoric rise, but his journey started long before his celebrity status. His early years lacked brightness and purity. By the time he reached 6th grade, Juice was ensnared in the perilous hold of lean, a beverage concocted from cough syrup infused with codeine.
My family putting me on to all this different music, Future, Gucci, all these niggas talking about drugs. When I heard Future, the first song I ever heard by Future was Ain't No Way Around.
In 2013, his struggles had intensified, with Percocet and Xanax becoming common in his daily routine. Illegal substances were not only featured in Juice WRLD's music, but they were also intertwined with his persona, ingrained in his very being, even before he rose to fame. His battles with substance abuse were well known. Juice openly admitted his dependence on substances, and his music served as a transparent account of his inner struggles. Spectators observed him performing on stage, occasionally worried about his unpredictable actions that appeared to expose the intense stress he was under. The quick ascent to fame, along with constant anxiety and depression, resulted in a brewing storm of volatility lurking just beneath. The storm reached its worst point on the morning of December 8, 2019. Juice WRLD's plane touched down in Chicago and was unexpectedly searched by federal agents. Despite it appearing to be a routine arrival, the discovery was astonishing. Multiple pounds of cannabis, containers of codeine syrup, and 3 guns were uncovered. During the confusion, there were rumors circulating that Juice and his group had ingested significant doses of Percocet in order to evade discovery. The full reality of that instant may forever remain uncertain. However, what transpired later marked the tragic conclusion of a promising yet troubled life. Immediately after arriving, Juice WRLD experienced a seizure and was quickly taken to the hospital. Despite attempts made to rescue him, the 21-year-old artist died. The confirmed reason for demise was due to a deadly combination of oxycodone and codeine. At that moment, the world not only lost a skilled musician, but also a young man still trying to find his role in it. Juice WRLD's passing caused a wave of shock among his followers, leaving millions devastated. His music was a beacon of hope for numerous individuals, a voice that empathized with their challenges. Now, the voice has stopped. His demise served as a sad warning about the risks of addiction, a clear message that life is delicate and can vanish suddenly. His memory serves as a message to seek assistance when the burden of sadness is too much, and to value the moments spent with our loved ones. What do you believe could have caused XXXTentacion's demise? What hidden secret is lurking below? XXXTentacion. XXXTentacion, whose real name is Jose Duan Ricardo Onfroy, entered the world on January 23, 1998. His name became associated with a fresh style of music, a genuine and frequently distressing portrayal of the challenges that numerous young individuals encountered. Even though his career was short, it was strong, and his influence on the music business was clear. Nevertheless, his fame was overshadowed by legal issues, causing controversy in his life. However, XXXTentacion still managed to attract a loyal fan base, forming strong connections with listeners who who related to the themes of depression and alienation in his music. He had a versatile style that mixed genres such as emo, trap, nu metal, lo-fi, and punk rock, resulting in a unique and intimate sound. Both critics and fans acknowledged him as the pioneer of the emo rap and SoundCloud rap scenes, which gained immense popularity in the mid to late 2010. However, tragedy hit on June 18, 2018. At 3:56 p.m. on that day, XXXTentacion was departing from Riva Motorsports Motorcycle and Marine Superstore in Deerfield Beach, Florida. While seated in the driver's seat of his vehicle, getting ready to depart, a black Dodge Journey SUV unexpectedly obstructed his way. It was a planned assault. Two men carrying weapons got out of the SUV and walked towards him. As they reached into his car, a short altercation took place while they snatched a small Louis Vuitton bag holding $50,000 in cash. During this time, the gunman fired multiple times at Onfroy before escaping in their SUV. Paramedics quickly transported XXXTentacion to Broward Health North Hospital. However, upon their arrival, it was already too late. Jace Onfroy, aged only 20, was declared deceased. The news caused ripples of shock in the music community and beyond, as fans grieved the loss of a voice that had courageously addressed the struggles many faced in articulating. At 5:30 p.m., the Broward County Sheriff's Office reported that he had passed away. Exactly 48 hours later, Dedrick Devonshea Williams was apprehended and accused of committing assassination. As the investigation progressed, it became evident that this was not the doing of a single individual. Michael Boatwright, Robert Allen, and Trayvon Newsom were subsequently taken into custody and accused of planning first-degree assassination. The trial started on February 7, 2023, and the jury reached a verdict of guilty on all charges for all three men. Williams and Newsom got life imprisonment with no chance of parole, whereas Boatwright got 2 back-to-back life sentences and an extra 30 years. Allen, who admitted to a minor offense in return for giving testimony against the rest, was handed a 7-year prison term and 20 years of probation. He was let out of jail on October 26, 2023, and is currently fulfilling his probation. In his last testament, Onfroy designated his estate to be inherited solely by his mother, Cleopatra, and his half-brothers, Aiden and Corey. The unborn child was not included, since the will was drafted prior to the pregnancy being discovered. Tupac Shakur, Tupac Amaru. Shakur, originally named Lassane Parrish Crooks, was born on June 16, 1971, and eventually emerged as a highly revered and impactful individual in the realms of music and culture. Recognized globally as Tupac and later as Machiavelli, he was more than just a rapper. He was a powerful presence. His music was groundbreaking and gritty, tackling profound societal issues while effortlessly merging with the aggressive visuals of gangsta rap. Tupac had a strong voice that connected with people who often felt ignored, particularly in the Black community. He emerged as a figure representing both creative excellence and social advocacy, leaving a lasting impact not just with his music, but also in his fight for equality for marginalized groups. Since the beginning of his musical journey, Tupac's songs have been known for their emotional depth and impactful themes. His music explored themes such as social injustice, inequality, and the struggles faced by African Americans in a nation filled with prejudice. However, while he was passionate about activism, his lyrics frequently explored the gritty themes of gangsta rap, depicting scenes of violence, loyalty, and survival. Tupac's skill in maneuvering through these different environments set him apart as a one-of-a-kind voice in the music business. Tupac was more than just a music artist. He was a talented actor who starred in movies demonstrating his skills, and he also penned poetry mirroring his personal challenges and aspirations for society. His creativity had no limits, leading him to become one of the highest-selling music artists ever, with more than 125 million records sold globally. Apart from achieving success as a solo artist, Tupac was also a member of the group Thug Life and worked together with the legendary artists such as Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and the Outlaws. He was an unmistakable figure in the hip-hop community and played a key role in the East Coast-West Coast hip-hop feud of the mid-1990s. Still, Tupac faced challenges throughout his life. Towards the end of his professional life, he was embroiled in tumult and debate. He got fired 5 times in the entrance of a recording studio in New York, causing him to feel paranoid and untrusting towards many people in the music industry. Legal issues ensued following this event, resulting in an 8-month incarceration for harassment allegations. In spite of these obstacles, Tupac stayed strong and signed with Demise Row Records following his 1995 release. With Marion Suge Knight's influence, Tupac became further involved in the East Coast-West Coast feud.
We believe in God, believe in Death Row East. We plan to take the same strategy we use with Death Row West, which is mind over matter.
A rivalry that would ultimately result in his demise. Tupac was fired 4 times in a drive-by firing in Las Vegas on the evening of September 7, 1996. After battling for survival for 6 days, he died on September 13, 1996, causing the world to grieve for a legend lost prematurely. Despite ongoing rumors and suspicions, the assassination case has not been solved. Many believe his former friend turned rival, the notorious B.I.G., who also tragically lost his life in a drive-by firing 6 months later, may be responsible. The passing of Tupac caused a stir within the hip-hop world, resulting in a peace summit called by Louis Farrakhan shortly after his assassination. Nevertheless, his impact endures through his songs, his teachings, and the lasting influence he had on society. Can you guess who is coming up next on the list? His demise will be a shocking revelation to you. Pop Smoke, Bashar, Baraka. Jackson, also known as Pop Smoke, was born on July 20th, 1999, and gained popularity as one of the most prominent rap artists from Brooklyn. His music, a raw mixture of Brooklyn and UK drill, encapsulated the spirit of his surroundings, rugged, unpolished, and vibrant. Tracks such as Welcome to the Party and Dior quickly gained popularity in 2019, propelling Pop Smoke to fame in a short amount of time. Due to his unique voice and intense beats, he promptly rose as a prominent figure in the emerging Brooklyn drill scene. Even though he quickly became famous, he couldn't escape trouble. Pop Smoke was taken into custody by federal officials at John F. Kennedy International Airport on January 17, 2020, following his return from Paris Fashion Week. Supposedly, he took a Rolls-Royce Wraith valued at $375,000 without permission after using it for a music video filming in California. Investigators believe that rather than returning the car the next day as planned, Pop Smoke had it transported to New York instead. After he shared pictures of himself with the car on social media, the police located it at his mother's residence in Brooklyn. Pop Smoke faced charges of grand theft auto and was granted release on a $250,000 bond. As part of the conditions for his release, he had to avoid associating with recognized gang members and undergo illegal substance tests, which affected his capability to participate in specific occasions. Only a month later, on February 19th, 2020, Pop Smoke's life tragically and unexpectedly ended. During his stay in a leased Hollywood Hills house, which is owned by reality TV personality Teddy Mellencamp and her spouse Edwin Arroyo, Pop Smoke was the victim of a brutal break-in. Around 4:30 in the morning, a group of 5 men wearing hoods entered the house, one of them armed with a handgun. The invaders burst in through a balcony on the 2nd floor and faced a woman indoors, brandishing a gun and endangering her life. Shortly after, Pop Smoke was fired during a confrontation with the intruders. A call from the East Coast informed the LAPD about a home invasion, and upon their arrival, they found Pop Smoke had already been fired several times. He was quickly taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but even after undergoing emergency surgery, he was declared deceased at the young age of 20. The medical examiner verified that the reason for demise was a bullet wound in the chest. At first, law enforcement thought there was gang connection because of Pop Smoke's affiliation with the Crips, but it was later revealed that the incident was a failed robbery. The burglars took his gold watch and jewelry, which they then sold for just $2,000. A 15-year-old boy admitted to eventually causing the demise of Pop Smoke during a confrontation over a diamond-studded Rolex. In July of 2020, law enforcement apprehended 3 men of legal age and 2 underage individuals in connection with the homicide. The tragedy had a long-lasting effect, as fans and loved ones grieved the loss of the up-and-coming star. King Von Bennett, more commonly recognized as King Von, entered the world in Chicago, Illinois on August 9, 1994. Brought up mainly by his mother Tasha in the infamous Parkway, Garden Homes on Chicago's South Side, also referred to as O Block, he experienced the tough conditions of the city's streets during his childhood. His father, Walter E. Bennett, was in and out of his life because of multiple imprisonments. And when Von was only 11 years old, his father was tragically assassinated by an unknown firer. Von was deeply impacted by this loss, and he honored his father in many of his songs. Von was familiar with the world of crime from a young age. At the age of 16, he ended up in juvenile detention following his arrest for armed robbery in January 2011. It was at this moment that he achieved his GED, a small yet significant triumph. After being set free, he briefly enrolled at South Suburban College in South Holland, Illinois, but quickly left because he was still drawn to the street life. Von solidified his ties to the Chicago drill music scene by forming friendships with key figures like Chief Keef and Lil Durk. Yet Von did not initially gain his reputation solely through music. It was also connected to his frequent run-ins with the law. Von was accused of first-degree assassination and 2 counts of attempted assassination in 2014, following a firing that resulted in 1 fatality and 2 individuals wounded. After spending more than 3 years in Cook County Jail, he was acquitted in December 2017.
School, you see what I'm saying? School over here with the nice teaching and nice people all in. All right, so now I'm going off they from that. Since they nice and being,
This marked a turning point for him to start focusing on his music career. His newfound success came with his freedom. King Von gained rapid fame with popular songs such as Crazy Story and Took Her to the O. His way of telling stories, which is strongly based on street experiences, connected with his supporters. In 2020, his first album, Welcome to O Block, made it to 5th place on the Billboard 200 chart, establishing him as a promising new talent in drill music. He was officially recruited by Lil Durk's record label, Only the Family, and Empire Distribution, and his potential for success appeared limitless. Yet, Von's life was tragically ended prematurely. A dispute broke out outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta on November 6, 2020, involving Von's crew and rapper Quando Rondo's entourage. The confrontation evolved into a firing, with Von being fired multiple times. He was quickly taken to the hospital in a critical state, but passed away later that same day. He was just 26 years of age. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation later verified that 2 individuals died and 6 others were injured in the gun battle. Timothy Lil Tim Leaks, a rapper associated with Quando Rondo, was among the wounded and arrested by police on an assassination charge in Von's case. Yet, in August 2023, the accusations were dismissed based on Georgia's Stand Your Ground legislation. King Von was buried in Chicago on November 14, 2020, in his hometown. Can you predict who will be the next one in line? What challenges do you believe he experienced in the brutal realm of celebrity? Notorious B.I.G., Christopher George LaTorre Wallace, also known as the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls, or just Biggie, was born on May 21st, 1972. Originating from the New York rap scene, his unique laid-back lyrical style distinguished him from others. Although his lyrics often contained dark and harsh subjects, Biggie delivered them in a smooth and captivating manner, blending gritty themes of struggle and crime with stories of parties and indulgence. Being considered one of the best rappers ever, his semi-autobiographical songs connected with listeners, depicting detailed images of his personal experiences. During February of 1997, Biggie traveled to California to publicize his second album, Life After Demise, and shoot the music video for its main single, Hypnotize. During his visit, he participated in a radio interview on March 5th, where he acknowledged requiring increased security because of his fame, specifying that it was not solely related to his status as a rapper. At the 11th annual Soul Train Music Awards in Los Angeles on March 7th, 1997, Biggie gave an award to Toni Braxton. Despite being met with some boos from the crowd, he stayed calm. On the night of March 8th, he went to a glamorous after-party thrown by Vibe Preach and Quest Records at the Peterson Automotive Museum. Musical legends such as Aaliyah and Sean, Diddy Combs, as well as individuals from the Crips and Bloods were in attendance among the guests. As the party ended abruptly due to overcrowding, Biggie and his group departed the venue in two GMC Suburbans in the early hours of March 9th. Biggie sat in the front passenger seat with his friends Damien, D-Rock Butler, Lil Cease, and driver Gregory G Money. Young by his side, Combs rode in a separate vehicle with his team of security personnel. Around 12:45 a.m., while stopped at a red light by the museum, a black Chevy Impala stopped beside their vehicle. The man, of African-American descent, driving the Impala and wearing a blue suit and bow tie, opened his window and fired 4 times at Biggie's car using a 9mm pistol. Biggie was hit several times, prompting his crew to quickly transport him to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Despite the efforts of medical professionals, he passed away at 1:15 a.m. at the young age of 24. An autopsy showed that the last bullet, which went through his hip and vital organs before coming to rest in his left shoulder, was the only one that caused demise. Biggie's burial took place at the Frank E. Campbell Funeral Chapel in Manhattan on March 18, 1997. Roughly 350 mourners, including well-known figures like Queen Latifah, Lil' Kim, Busta Rhymes, Mary J. Blige, and DJ Kool Herc, were present at the event. Following the ceremony, his remains were cremated and his ashes were given to his family. Biggie's passing created a void in the music industry that could not be filled, signifying the conclusion of a life and career that had impacted an entire generation. Nevertheless, his influence endures, solidifying his position in the history of hip-hop. Lil Keed, Rakid Jevon Render, also known as Lil Keed, came into the world on March 16, 1998 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was the middle child of 7 siblings and lived on Conley Road in southeast Atlanta before relocating to Cleveland Ave in the southwest. As he grew older, he went through his parents' separation, but they both stayed active in his life. He had a strong relationship with his siblings, especially his younger brother, the rapper Lil Goateed.
Y'all just gotta leave that shit alone, man. I know it's hard. I ain't gonna tell you what to do, but it's like, you gotta think further, like you gotta think future-wise.
Lil Keed's life changed in 2016 following the devastating demise of his close friend, Rudy. Motivated by the suffering and grief, Keed started to take his rapping career more seriously. He and his brother began making music recordings and sharing songs on the internet, attracting local interest rapidly. In 2017, Keed was causing a stir in Atlanta's rap community. In his teens, Keed had short stints at Subway and McDonald's, before finding his true passion in music. Under contract with Young Thug's YSL Records and 300 Entertainment, Keed's success skyrocketed. His track Nameless became popular, climbing to the 42nd spot on the Billboard Hip Hop Chart R&B Songs Airplay chart. During his journey, Keed also took on the role of a father to a daughter named Anchor. On May 13, 2022, Lil Keed's bright future was cut short by a tragic event. Following experiencing stomach and back pains, he was brought to the hospital, where he had a seizure and died the next morning. The reason for demise was later verified as liver and kidney failure caused by eosinophilia. The next in line is identified as Juice WRLD's cousin. Do you think he followed the same route as Juice WRLD that resulted in his demise? Keep on watching to find out. Young Dolph. Young Dolph, birth name Adolph, Robert Thornton Jr., was born in Memphis, Tennessee on July 27, 1985. Emerging from modest origins, he grew to be one of the most esteemed figures in Southern rap. Dolph achieved his first big success in 2015 by appearing as a guest on O.T. Genase's song Cut It, which rose on the Billboard Hot 100 and brought Dolph into the mainstream. 1 year after, his first studio album, King of Memphis, achieved the rank of 49 on the Billboard 200, establishing his position in the music industry. Over the course of time, he kept causing a stir, as his fifth album, Rich Slave, 2020, peaked at number 4 on the charts. Dolph's childhood was difficult. His grandparents, especially Ida Mae, played a major role in his upbringing as his parents grappled with addiction. Encounters with them were infrequent, forcing him to navigate life without their constant presence. In spite of these difficulties, Dolph continued to have strong connections with his family, which included his 2 sisters and brothers. In 2017, he found out that he was Juice WRLD's second cousin, realizing their family connection. Dolph was not only a musician, but also a father and a significant other. He and Mia J., his long-term partner, shared 2 children. Dolph frequently referred to himself as a firm parent, influenced by the values his grandmother taught him. His cousin and fellow rapper, Key Glock, frequently collaborated with him, as family was a key part of his life. Even with all his accomplishments, his life still had its share of risks. Dolph was fired outside a retail store in Los Angeles on September 26, 2017. Even though he was fired 3 times, he managed to survive following a 2-week stay in the hospital. At first, Yo Gotti was considered a suspect in the case, but eventually he was exonerated. His partner, Corey McClendon, was taken into custody for attempting assassination, but was let go the following day with no charges. In 2020, amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, Dolph's increased presence with his family in Memphis sparked speculation about him potentially retiring. Aside from his musical talents, he was recognized for his generous charitable contributions to his local area. He gave $25,000 to Hamilton High School, where he had graduated, and often delivered inspirational talks to students. He was well known for giving out Thanksgiving meals in Memphis, and shortly before his demise, he distributed 200 turkeys at the West Cancer Center. On November 17, 2021, a tragic event occurred when Dolph was fired and fatally wounded during his visit to Makita's Homemade Butter Cookies, a bakery he often went to while in Memphis. 2 assailants fired at him, causing 22 firing wounds, with some hitting his head and spine. The city was shaken by the news, prompting crowds to gather at the scene. Officials promptly stepped in to keep peace, as municipal officials urged a curfew to avoid more chaos. Young Dolph was buried on November 30, 2021 in Memphis. He was laid to rest at First Baptist Church on Broad Street, and as he passed Hamilton High School, his impact as an artist and a community member would always be remembered. Pimp C, Chad Lamont. Butler, also recognized as Pimp C, entered the world on December 29, 1973 in Port Arthur, Texas. Chad, the solo offspring of Charleston Butler and Wesleyan Mama West Butler, Jacob Monroe, was born prematurely and immediately confronted various health difficulties. His legs naturally pointed inward at birth due to a birth defect, which needed braces for correction. During his early years, he struggled with stomach problems, weak eyesight, and frequent pneumonia episodes, almost going blind due to a severe pink eye infection. Even with these challenges, Chad would eventually achieve legendary status in the world of hip-hop, particularly for his role as one part of the well-known rap duo UGK, Underground Kings, with Bun B.A. Pimp. C always had controversy present in his life. He was arrested at Houston's Sharpstown Mall on December 16, 2000, following a dispute. During a confrontation at a shoe store, a woman named Lakita Hewlett claimed that Pimp C pointed a gun at her and made threats to fire. Butler stated that he simply displayed the weapon without taking it out of his waistband. When he tried to exit the mall, he was surrounded by police officers. He disregarded their orders and was forcefully restrained. taken into custody, and accused of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Even after he posted bail the following day, his problems continued. Following a no contest plea in 2001, Pimp C was given probation as a sentence, but he did not adhere to the conditions. In January 2002, he had skipped multiple appointments with his probation officer, ignored his community service duties, and had a positive test for marijuana. Consequently, he received an 8-year prison sentence. This caused anger among hip-hop artists, resulting in a widespread movement led by Bun B to free Pimp C. While incarcerated, Butler was transferred between prisons, ultimately ending up at the Terrell unit for his last few months before being moved to the Huntsville unit. In the end, on December 30th, 2005, Pimp C was granted parole, bringing much happiness to his supporters. Nevertheless, disaster occurred only 2 years after. During early December 2007, Butler stayed at the Mondrian Hotel in West Hollywood, where he worked on new music and collaborated with rapper Too Short. His planned return home was on December 4th, however. When his wife, Chinara, did not receive any communication from him, she requested hotel staff to make sure he was okay. Paramedics declared him deceased at 33 years old after discovering him unresponsive in his room. The official report from the coroner later verified that Pimp C's demise was unintentional, resulting from the interaction of lean, a mix of codeine and promethazine, with his existing sleep apnea. The hip-hop community was stunned by his sudden demise, with speculations spreading about the unusual events surrounding his passing. Pimp C's remains were brought back to Port Arthur, and he was buried after a ceremony at the Bob Bowers Civic Center. Friends, relatives, and supporters came together to honor the individual who had made a lasting impact on Southern rap. Grieving the absence of a truly distinctive voice, you'll never believe how this young American rapper lost his life. Lil Snoop, Darren Ross, also recognized as Lil Snoop, entered the world on June 13, 1995, in the tiny town of Jonesboro, Louisiana. He was brought up in challenging conditions with his mother, Denesha Chester, taking on most of the responsibility since his father, Charlie Brown, was in prison for the majority of his life. Darren's father was freed just before Darren's untimely passing. Lil Snoop's early years were influenced by both difficulties and strength, as his mother became a parent at a young age, around 14 or 15 years old. Even though he displayed great potential, Lil Snoop had a tumultuous relationship with education. His academic performance was poor, and he was kicked out of school 3 times, as Denisha, his mother, remembered later. Music became his solace, a means of self-expression and liberation from the obstacles that enveloped his life. At the age of 16, in 2012, Lil Snoop launched his first mixtape, 16 and Runnin', the Mixtape A, signaling the start of his brief yet influential music journey. Lil Snoop experienced a significant change in his life after meeting rapper Meek Mill. During a seemingly destined moment, Lil Snoop was able to give his demo to Meek Mill while the rapper was touring at Grambling University in Louisiana. In an interview with Complex magazine, Meek later disclosed, "While we were returning to the airport, a young child tapped on the window and presented us with a demo. We heard it, we enjoyed it, and he unexpectedly showed up in Philadelphia and spent time with us." The random encounter resulted in Lil Snoop getting a contract with Meek Mill's Dream Chasers Records. Lil Snoop's undeniable talent and vitality were evident. In March 2013, he dropped his single Nobody Does It Better, which was a joint effort with his mentor, Meek Mill.
I mean, I got on one of my demos, you know what I'm saying? Got on one of my demos while he was leaving. It was history since.
1 month later, in April, he released his mixtape, RNNIC, Real Now Nada in Charge, with guest spots from DJ Khaled, Currency, Trey Tha Truth, and Big Papa. Lil Snoop was climbing up and appeared to have a promising future. However, Lil Snoop's life came to a tragic end on June 20th, 2013. When he was only 18, he received 2 firing wounds to the chest after an altercation, which was sparked by a video game at the Maplewood Apartments in Winfield, Louisiana. The young rapper's promising future was cut short by senseless violence. Officers arrived at the location at approximately 4:08 a.m., yet medical personnel were unsuccessful in resuscitating him. He was declared deceased at the location. 1 week after, Tony Holden, aged 36, who was accused of being the fire, surrendered on June 26, 2013, and faced charges of first-degree assassination, armed robbery, and unlawful possession of a firearm as a previously convicted criminal. On July 3, 2013, Edric Oweth Stewart, age 21, was taken into custody as a suspect and accused of manslaughter. During a 2022 interview, Dinesha Chester disclosed that her son's fatal altercation originated from a gambling disagreement regarding the video game at NBA 2K. Although Lil Snoop's life was brief, his talent and story still touched fans, serving as a sad reminder of unrealized potential in the future. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.